Welcome to episode 23 of the Carvecast. I literally cannot believe we're on episode 23. I only really started this as just a place where I could talk about skiing freely and have a conversation with people that aren't in the room with me. So episode 23 is kind of crazy that I've managed to continue this going for all of this time, and hopefully there'll be many more to come. So thank you very much to everyone who watches and listens. Just as a bit of an FYI, if you watch this on YouTube, just to let you know, you can actually listen on Spotify or the Apple Podcasts app. And if vice versa, you listen on the podcast or you listen on Spotify, you can actually watch this with me in the image and unfortunately have to look at me and see my surroundings on YouTube. So thank you very much for everyone who is tuning in and listening. The season is well underway, and I have here with me my wife, so you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jade and I am Adam's wife. I am a ski widow most of the winter.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm not actually.
So Jade's with me in this podcast for very good reason, which we'll go into in a minute. But the season is well underway. We are recording this on the 16th of November. So hopefully I'll upload this tonight, so it'll go out the same day. But as we speak, all around Europe, and in fact a lot of places in the US, it is snowing. Now there has been some early season snow, but it's only really been up high. But what there has been has actually stayed around longer than usual and stayed really, really good high up. There's just been nothing low down. But over this week, it really does look like the cold weather's coming in. All of the valley temperatures are going from like 10 to 15 all the way down to 0. The actual altitude for the freezing level is dropping all the way down to 500-600 meters. All of the webcams that I've looked on today, like Zermatt and Val d'Isère and everywhere else, Chamonix, it's snowing everywhere, and it looks like that's going to continue all week. A lot of ski resorts are now opening up or beginning to. An extra run has opened in Zermatt today, the Ferg run. So there's quite a lot of Zermatt open now when you add in Chamonix as well. And obviously that's just going to continue to open up. And in fact, this weekend should be the opening weekend of Chamonix. And I'll come on to my plans and Chamonix and everything a little bit later on, because Jade's only got a short period of time with us before she's got to go and put our daughter to bed and everything else. So we'll leave that stuff till later on, and we'll get straight into the reason that Jade is on this podcast, which is, if you've been listening on the previous episodes, you will know that I gifted Jade my StompIt camp pass, trip, I don't know what you'd want to call it, travel, journey, everything. And Jade went to and did the StompIt camp.
In Hintertux.
In Hintertux, yeah. So a lot of people have been messaging me saying, how did she get on? Did she enjoy it? Did she have a good time? Did it improve her skiing? And because Jade was only really putting things out on her personal Instagram, a lot of people that were asking, well, in fact, all the people that were asking me obviously don't follow her directly. So this is your update for the people that asked me. And I remember Andy asked me, Paul asked me, Chris asked me, Steve asked me, and one of the ladies asked me as well. I've forgotten her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sophie. So yeah, this is going to be your update. So Jade, just as an FYI, started skiing the same time as me, which is actually pretty much exactly 2 years to the day. Our very first ski trip in the snow, what started on the 29th of December, 2 years ago. So our 2-year anniversary for skiing actually on the mountains is coming up in a month. So yeah, that's where Jade's at. And in fact, tell us like briefly, because Jade is limited on time and has a tendency to make these conversations longer than they need to be. Tell us briefly what your skiing journey has been like up until this point. So when we first started, the first trip go back further than that. We started on what?
On dry slopes. On
dry slopes, yeah. And tell us about, like, how did you feel about that?
I was scared, really scared. I've always been scared of skiing. I've just, like, you know, we've only done it for a couple of years, but before that I never skied. I was never introduced to skiing when I was younger either. My mum and stepdad used to always go to Lake Tahoe and never used to go with them. So I'm definitely not a skier. I didn't think I was anyway. So we started on dry slopes, didn't we? And then the first year we went to Zermatt.
No, we went to Grindelwald.
Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And we did a valley run. And they all reminded me the other day that I cried the whole time, didn't I? I literally held on to who was our instructor at the time, like I'm talking wrapped around him, and I cried the whole time. And I think that was my proof about 5 hours. And people that know me, I don't cry a lot. But my God, it was so scary. And I think from that, I got a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, I've said it before probably on this show, but Grindelwald, although it has some sort of beginner slopes, it's not great for people who can do like the very, very nursery slopes but are looking to progress onto the mountain. In fact, it might have even been the worst place we could have gone, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, so we started off, and basically after that trip to Grindelwald, if I would have said to you, you don't ever have to ski again, you probably would have been happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She probably would have been happy to never ever ski again.
It scared the life out of me. It really, really scared me. And I think it was just because, like Adam said, Grindelwald was probably one of the worst places to go to do it first time. And we worked that one out as well, because last Christmas we took my sister-in-law, Adam's sister, her husband and their 2 kids with us, and Mike, our brother-in-law. He absolutely hated it, didn't he?
Yeah,
and it was really steep for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I really did feel for him, because that's how I felt when we first started. So I totally understood how he felt. And actually, Mike has got no intention of ever skiing ever again.
No.
Has he?
No.
Your sister, on the other hand, she's very much like you. So she's the other side, isn't she? She's much more like, yeah, bring it on. Like, I want to ski again. And our nephew Bobby, he's the same. Like, he's only 8 and he really wants to ski again. So, you know, we will be skiing with them very soon. But we did Grindelwald, didn't we? And then we did Zermatt.
No. You keep wanting to go to Zermatt.
I know, but that's because we did it the year after at Christmas, didn't we?
Yeah, but basically, after we did Grindelwald, I'd already booked a trip for Jade and I to go to Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
And actually, Alpe d'Huez, of all the places that I've been to, is easily the best place for people to go when they are at that level where they're either actually nursery slopes, there's loads of them there. There must be a dozen nursery slopes there. But in addition to that, there are so many green slopes, which are the easiest slopes of all, that are just the best place to get started. And I did a reel actually on Alpe d'Huez the other day saying it was the best place to go to get started. And I'm sure there's loads of other places as well, but of all the places I've ever been to, it's by far and away the best for beginners. So we went there. And we did that because it had all of the green slopes. So when I looked at the map, I thought, oh, this will be easy. But when we went there, we were still at a stage really where actually we even struggled, didn't we, on the green slopes?
Yeah, there was.
And I kind of braved it and said, oh no, it's easy. But actually I was struggling as well.
Yeah.
And Jade definitely struggled. So yeah, again, that was, even though we had a great time and it was nice, it was just the 2 of us, it was a lovely trip. Jade essentially, again, probably would have been happy to never go skiing again.
Yeah, I think I would have, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was getting better. And every time we did ski, I did like have less nerves, if that makes sense. Still really nervous, but I had less nerves. I think my thing is I just don't want to fall over and break anything. But, you know, that's the same with anything, isn't it? Any sport that you do, you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you're probably going to say Zermatt again, but our next trip was actually, can you remember?
The 3 Valleys.
Yeah, it was the 3 Valleys. So the next trip was 3 Valleys, me, you, Molly, Holly, Lila. And that was a good trip actually. We thoroughly enjoyed that. We started to push on to red slopes towards the end of it.
Yeah.
And things were definitely improving. We navigated the whole of the 3 Valleys.
And it's very wide, the 3 Valleys.
Most of them, yeah.
A lot of the slopes are very wide, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that, you know, there is obviously areas in the 3 Valleys that you see on TikTok and you think, oh my God, I want to ski past the Montclair shop
in
and stuff like in Courchevel, but that was good. Yeah,
that was good. So we're pushing on by now. Anyway, without going into full details of every trip, because I'm sure there is a video where we talk about that. The next I don't know, let's say 18 months, we went on lots and lots and lots of ski trips. And in fact, by your last ski trip this year was in March in the Three Valleys again, wasn't it? So we did the Three Valleys again in March. Jade was there was a few of us there. And Jade turned up, and a couple of us already been skiing for a few days for a long story reason I won't go into. And we went straight onto a really harsh icy red, and Jade just got on it and basically just cracked it out. And it really, on her very first slope, no warm up, no nothing. It was ridiculously icy because it was kind of spring conditions first thing in the morning. It would just refreezed, and she just absolutely smashed it, and she skied the Three Valleys just easily that week. I don't think you struggled with anything.
No, and that was the first time I think I ever felt like, okay, I've got this. There's definitely something there that I am capable of doing, you know, and I did feel at that moment in time that maybe, just maybe, I might be half decent at skiing, or, you know, at least be able to stand on my 2 feet and get myself down a slope and not be behind everybody. And I did really, really enjoy it, and I felt pretty stable the whole time, and I think that was because of the conditions of the snow as well. The snow was really nice, wasn't it, in most areas?
It was all right. I mean, don't forget, it was very, well, in fact, no, it probably wasn't that nice, actually, because if you remember, no, but it was ridiculously icy in the mornings,
that's
and
true.
then very slushy in the afternoon. So actually, no, the snow wasn't particularly good at all.
Okay.
But you still smashed it. In the afternoons, it was all moguls.
Oh, yeah, I like the moguls, though.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. So Jade had really pushed on by now, and actually her technique was actually fairly good from a technique point of view. Obviously, I'm a qualified ski instructor now, so I'm trying to help as much as a partner can help without getting into arguments. But her technique, actually, from a technique perspective, it actually was really progressing well. So what I thought was, over this summer period when I'd booked this StompIt camp, I was just sat there one day and I just thought, do you know what, it'd be great for Jade to go on that StompIt camp and just start the season on a really good high, because I know how great they are, how great the teaching is, how enthusiastic they are, how much they take care of you. They're just really into it, and it's just a great thing. Like, I did one last year in December in Zermatt.
Yeah, so good.
And I just thought it'd be fantastic for her to have that at the beginning of the season, that would just set the season up, take her on from how good she'd got towards the end of last season, and just give her this platform to start next season, so she could just go into a whole season and just thoroughly enjoy it with no fear as such, not too much fear, and just good technique and good skiing and speed and everything else. So yeah, so Jade went off to Hintertux. So tell us, I'll ask you some questions. So how did you get there?
So you dropped me to the airport, didn't you? I flew from Heathrow over to Munich, and then from Munich I picked up a car and I drove over to Austria, to Hintertux, which took, so the flight took about 1 hour and 40 minutes on the way there, and then from Munich to Austria to Hintertux, it took about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours, about 2.5, 2 hours 45. Door to door, basically, so that was pretty good. Yeah,
and a quick side note for anyone worried about taking a car, how easy is the journey?
Oh my God, it was like so straightforward, like absolutely everything. Even if you're worried about taking the ski bag, like, you know, like the long ski bags, it's so easy. I literally got to Heathrow, and the area I was in was all BA as well, which I didn't realise it was like all BA. It's like their home, isn't it?
Yeah.
I checked in, and then she said, just take your bag over there and pop it in the larger baggage area. So that was really, really straightforward, straight through. On the plane, off the other side. I even got an upgrade, didn't I, for free, which was crazy. Got off the plane, and then it's just all signposted, car rental. So you just follow that the whole way down, and then you just look out for the company you've booked the car with.
One thing I recommend is, and it is slightly more expensive, but it's worthwhile, is when you rent the car, choose that you want to pick it up at the airport, not at an off-site location, because when you've got all your ski bags and stuff, if you're on your own, it's difficult to start carrying them on buses and whatnot. Not so much if you're like a fairly strong guy, but if you're older or if you're a female and you've got these massive heavy ski bags, you're taking your own skis.
You can put it on a trolley though. I put mine on a trolley, so I put like my lecky bag on the trolley that I actually took on the plane as hand luggage, and then the big long bag, I just sort of stood it up. And as long as you can sort of like balance it on the end of the trolley, you're okay really.
Yeah. But if you have to start walking loads of ways to it, and then you've got to pick it up, put it on a coach. It can be a bit
annoying.
long. But yeah, so pick it up inside the airport. And always remember, whenever you book these things online, they're always going to cost you another 100, 150 quid when you get there, because the car rentals are just a scam no matter where you go. So just bear that in mind. That doesn't matter what deal you get online, I guarantee you it will cost more at the airport for something or other, plus a deposit, refundable deposit. So you drove to Hintertux, I booked you a hotel, got to hotel, lovely hotel.
Lovely hotel.
So what was it called?
It was called Hotel Alpenhof, and it was really, really lovely. It was like they call it a sport and spa. And it was just a really, really lovely hotel. And also, which is really, really nice, is the area, the room for your ski boots and your skis and things like that is very close to the front door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was really good, because you had like 2 entrances. You could go in via the boot room, or you could go in via the reception. So that was quite a nice layout.
Was the boot room ridiculously hot in the mornings?
Yeah, and the kids, because they were the racer kids were there, they would like leave the front, like the door that went out to the car park open with like a ski boot.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
So it let the air through.
Yeah, because I hate that in the mornings when the ski room's ridiculously hot. Because you're trying to get ready, getting your boots on, you get all hot and sweaty before you've even got out there.
Yeah, but I didn't actually put my boots on in the boot room at all.
Oh, yeah, of course, because you drove.
Yeah, I drove every morning to the car park. So when I got up in the mornings, I would go and have my breakfast, go back to the room, get my bits and pieces on. And then I used to go and get my skis, my poles, and my boots that had been drying on the radiator, the cupboard radiator. There's like where you put your boots on. And then I would put them in my lecky bag. I had my trainers on. And then when I got to the gondola, which literally was a 3-minute drive.
Yeah. In fact, before you carry on, let me just explain. So when you ski at Hintertux, if you actually want to stay by the gondola, which they call Hintertux, there's only really, I think, 2 or 3 hotels actually right there.
Yeah.
Most of the hotels are about, it's probably maybe dead on 1 mile back, 1 kilometre, something like that, literally like a 2-minute drive. And that little village is called Tux. So just bear that in mind, because a lot of people get a hotel in like Tux and then they think they're right on the slopes, but they're not. And obviously, because it's a glacier type resort, it's not ski in, ski out. You have to get to the gondola, go up in the gondola. But the car park in there is what?
Oh my God, it's so good. There's about 3 or 4 car parks. And if you have to get there early, because there was one morning where I had to go and get some ibuprofen. And then when I got there, I was in the last car park, which again isn't far. It's like a 5-minute walk, but it was further than I'd parked every other day.
Yeah.
But the closest hotel to the gondola is called Valara, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
And it's massive.
You'll get a much better deal if you stay in Tux. And in fact, there's lots of villages even before Tux. If you don't mind either jumping on a bus for 15 minutes, which they come every 10 minutes.
Every 5 minutes they come outside the hotel.
Or if you're driving your own car, the further back you go, the cheaper it gets, and sometimes the nicer as well. So just bear that in mind. It's so easy travelling around there. So don't stress over being 15 minutes away from the gondola.
Yeah.
So you get there and then you go to the gondola, obviously get your ticket, go up on a couple of gondolas, don't you?
2 gondolas to the top. Then once you get to the top, there is like your hub basically, where everyone is up there putting their boots on, leaving their bags there as well. Like no one's bags get stolen. Everyone just leaves their bags there. They get their boots on and stuff like that. You leave your skis outside, and then once your boots are on and everything, you just go outside, grab your skis, and then you do go up another gondola.
Yeah, no, that's not the top. That's like a mid station.
Oh, okay, so the mid station. I can't remember. So it's 1 gondola up.
That's basically the bottom of the glacier.
Yeah, and then you get the gondola up, and then you're at the top of the glacier.
Yeah, then you're at the top of the glacier.
Yeah.
And just bear in mind as well, just an FYI for anyone who ever wants to go to Hintertux, at the ground level where the car park is, there is ski shops there. There's 3 amazing ski shops in Tux as well. Really, really good ski shops. But they are quite expensive to be fair, but they're very good ones.
Yeah.
But in Hintertux, you've got a ski shop where they can do all the ski servicing and sharpening and everything else. You've got the ticket booths, everything's easy. And then when you get up to both the first and the second lift that Jade's talking about, there are ski shops on both levels. And both levels you can get your skis sharpened and serviced. And what I recommend that you do is leave your skis up there every night, either in lockers or just with the shop and get them waxed. I think it's like €5 or something for a machine
And a lot
wax.
of people were just leaving their skis just up there.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, if you don't mind doing that, but yeah, so it's a very, very easy, convenient place. It's glacier skiing. We won't go into details about that, but it's not very, but it's a little bit different to normal skiing. But we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
So breakdown now, just really, really briefly. You go up there. You've met everyone the night before, haven't you? Because they do like a meal meet-up.
Yeah. You do like a meal meet-up the night before, so then you get to meet everybody. You've got like there's a technique team and then there's a freestyle team, and both of which we had 8 in our team, and then the technique, I think there's about 16. There was a lot in the in the freestyle was about 16. There was about 8 in the technique. So then you get up to the top, and our 2 trainers were like, right, just start skiing just so we can see how you go, and then we're going to split you into 2 groups. So we ended up being in groups of 4. Technique team.
That course was clearly undersold, because normally there would be 6 or 8 per group.
Yeah. This week, they've got 16.
Yeah,
and they're splitting up. There's like 4 groups of 4, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we got split up into 2 groups with the technique. I had Mario, and then the other group had Quinnin. And then I don't know what the freestylers did, but they went off in the afternoon and they did trampolining and stuff like that, like 30 minutes down the road, which was quite cool to practice their jumping skills.
Yeah.
But
so then on the very first day, so you've met everybody, you know who your trainer is, everyone's in their groups, they've seen you ski.
Yeah.
Tell us like really briefly what that first day involved once he's seen you ski and they've put you into your groups based on basically there was 2 groups, one for the better people, one for the not so better people. Although it sounds like the standard of Jade's group was actually very good, even though they were the lesser group.
Yeah, I think they were just not as fast. The other team was super fast.
Right.
They were really, really fast. So they were like arses on the floor.
Yeah.
They were pretty good at carving like straight away.
Right.
And they've been skiing a long time.
Right.
Like a lot of them. So there was a lot of Americans. There was, I think, 2 Americans. There was someone from Switzerland, and then I can't remember the other lady.
And they're very mixed, aren't they? The females.
Oh my God, yeah.
So,
So
like 50-50.
Yeah. In our group, there was 3 girls and 1 guy. And in the other group, the faster group, I like to call them, there was 3 guys and 1 girl.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit of a breakdown as to what you did like for the week each day, just like in like a basic level, and then kind of how it all sort of finished up.
Yeah, so when we first started, I think Mario just wanted to see our ability to what we could do and how well we could do it. So on the first day, we did about 50% of the slopes, which were obviously steep and not so steep as well. And he got us to work on like our upper body, pole planting, just very basic at the beginning, but just to see how well we did it as well. And then as the week sort of progressed, we would follow him and we'd do it in like a bit like a line as well. So like I'd be behind Mario and then there'd be the other 3 behind me. And then as soon as he put his pole up, I would move to the back and then someone else would come. So it was a lot of lots of drills and lots of repetitive techniques. Like we was just doing the same thing over and over again. But in the mornings when we was going up on the gondola, he would brief us on what we was going to do that day. So one day would be like pole planting and talking about the upper body, and then the next day would be a lot to do with like the legs and how the skis look and where the body should be facing, because we had done, you know, the upper body the day before. We was putting them 2 together. So it just, every day we learned something different, and then by the Friday we had to put it all together. But we were sort of following the other faster team around, which I thought was quite cool, because it showed that we still could do what they did, we just wasn't as fast. So like, you know, we would be up at the snow park and they were up there, but they were just doing something a bit different, but we was all on the same gradient of slope. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you don't get much choice on Hintertux at this time of year, because at this time of year in Hintertux, And someone asked me a question actually earlier. I'm going to answer it at the end about where to ski in November. You're literally just on the highest area, which is obviously restricted. Hintertux is probably the biggest glacier that there is out of everywhere in Europe, I think, in terms of the numbers of runs.
Lots of T-bars.
Yeah, a lot of T-bars.
Hintertux.
But we'll talk about glacier stuff later on. So by the Friday, once you said you've done things like pole plant, upper body, rotation, carving.
We got Carve as well. They gave us they actually gave us Carve to use,
right?
Because they get given Carve sponsor them or whatever. So we all had Carve on, and we could look at our progress as the week went on as well, which was quite good.
That's good. And they done like videos, and on the way home, and at the end of the day, they spoke to you about briefs, and
briefing.
Went over what you've done and all that stuff,
and watched our legs and what we were going to do differently the next day, and sent us the videos. That we had a WhatsApp group, and all the videos come through on our WhatsApp group, and then Mario would send us Jens, who owns StompIt, watching his YouTube videos. That's what we was going to do the following day. So just basically getting an idea of what that looked like when we put it together.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Oh, so he was showing you like one of Jens's videos where he's teaching something, and he's saying we're going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you've got something to think about.
Yeah, and what are them turns called? You know when you go down in a straight line and then you keep like turning your skis up?
Hockey stop.
No, they're not hockey stops. So you sort of like, it feels like you're like a bit like a snake.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Where you go across the slope and you let them go flat, and then you edge them and go flat. Yeah, I should know that.
Pivot.
Really. No, pivot slips. No, pivot slips is not that. That's braquage.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, you're basically, Jade's talking about where you traverse the slope. You start on your edge, then you let them go flat. You go down a bit, then you go back on edge, then you go flat again.
But we were doing things like that, and that was just so that we got the feel as well for like what that
getting
feels
on the edge,
like.
Yeah. Okay, so by the time you've got to like, let's say Thursday morning, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like you've progressed at all? Are you feeling like you've like got to become a better skier? Like what are you thinking by, say, Thursday morning in terms of your progress?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that it's definitely got a lot better, and that I'm not nervous anymore, because the first day I was like really, really nervous, and I literally fell down the first I didn't actually fall down the first day. I went over someone's skis. There was a lot going on at the top, and it was very busy in the morning, and we just were, and then Mario was like, off you go. And I said this to Adam, I said, it's really hard because, it wasn't hard, but I had to overcome my fear in that way with the fact that when we go away, if I say to you, I really don't want to do that slope, you don't like the fact that I'm saying that, but you sort of go, oh, all right, then we'll just do something a bit easier to start off with. Whereas Mario, he was like, come on. And then he would just pop off the slope. And I was a bit like, oh, okay, well, I better go because I'm just going to be left up here. And my team were gone. So I had to go. So
yeah, it does force you to push on
100%.
Through your fears. Yeah, for sure.
And there was one part as well, we was on this slope, and there was, it was where all the racers went. So they were all flying down, and then there was like all the poles, that they go round, and then next was like a clear section. And he was like, we're going to go down that bit. And I was like, oh.
One thing I will say though is when you do a stompy camp, I think their requirement is that you can sort of fairly confidently ski a red slope.
Yeah.
Now the slopes in Hintertux, or as an average red, I would say are ever so slightly steeper than the average red. But if they, for example, didn't think you were able to deal with it, they would work something out, because I have seen that happen. But they have already watched you. They know what you're capable of. So, they would have separated you on the Monday.
Yeah.
So, but, they know that you're able to do it because of those reasons. So, by Thursday, then you're feeling pretty confident.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you understood like the terminology and stuff any better?
Yeah, I suppose I did, because Mario was breaking it down in a different way. Like different to other people, and I just think, because I was in a group and I had to follow the group, I had to learn. Like, it was almost like I was pushed to learn, you know? Like, there would be times if we all went away and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do that, or oh, no, I'm not going to do that. But the fact that I had to do it, it was completely different,
Yeah.
But by Thursday, I felt so much more confident, and I just thought, no, I can actually ski. Like, I've been told that I can ski, and I've been told that it's to do with nerves. Like, I can ski, but I'm just a nervous skier,
Yeah.
you know? And he even said that to me. He said, you can ski, you're just a nervous skier. You've just got to get that out of your head.
Yeah, and I'd say as well, just to add a little bit of context, although Jade has done a few private lessons before, a handful, 5 or 6, and I've taught her a lot, she's never done a group lesson before. And it's quite a unique experience because until I did my StompIt, I had never done anything group-based before. And I was slightly put off by the fact it was a group thing because I thought it would actually inhibit and slow down my ability to progress. But actually, I found completely the opposite. Being in a group actually made me learn faster.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, because you don't want to let your group down. You don't let your team down. You know, and you can't stop. Like they've all paid the money to be there. You can't then just go, oh, I'm out. I don't want to do this.
You could, because I have seen that.
Really?
Yeah,
people have done that?
Yeah, well, it's a lot. I won't go into it now because we run out of time, but I'll talk about it another day. But so then Friday comes, you know that's your last day. You're probably, I'm guessing, like you're feeling like sort of, you're obviously kind of pleased it's coming to an end because it is tiring, but you're also a little bit like sort of elated because you've done so well. You're feeling great about everything. It's the day when you sort of get to really like put everything together. I don't know, you just kind of feel a bit of a buzz on the Friday. There's
and
like
everyone's
a buzz.
got a night. Everyone's, I don't know, everyone's just a little bit more upbeat. I think that's because we all knew that we was all going to meet at the end of the day. We was all going to have dinner, like sit down, have a proper like sit down like afternoon lunch together, like all of us, like getting everyone together. And then we're going to go and have après ski. I think it does make everything a little bit more, you know, like, feels a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But no, Friday was definitely my favourite day because I think Friday I realised that I can ski and that I just need to be more confident. And I think I let it go. I think I did. I think I just, and I remember thinking, right, today is the day that I let my nerves go and I just ski. And actually, I did it. And as soon as I did it, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And in fact, I mean, I'm guessing the people that are watching this are quite into skiing. Like, I would imagine, unless they're just people that know me or like fans from my previous sort of YouTube life, I'm guessing that whoever's watching this, especially if they get this far, you're like a ski fanatic like me. So you will know that the StompIt videos, Jens is obviously the main guy. He's the guy that owns it, and he's the guy in most of the videos.
He's so cool.
But in the earlier, he's very cool. Yeah, Jade got to meet him multiple times.
Yeah, he's so cool.
And he's a really cool guy. I've met him once at the ski show.
Yeah.
But there's, if you go back for the earlier StompIt videos, there's a guy who teaches Jens on there, a little guy called Josh. And I've always wanted to do like some private lessons with Josh, even over Jens. Because Josh just comes across as like the most amazing instructor, and we won't bore you to death with the details, but essentially most of Jade's Friday, one way or another, she got a one-to-one all day on the Friday with Josh, who I think is one of the best instructors I've ever seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's some good instructors on YouTube, but I would put him right up there, maybe in the top 3, maybe even like the top 2, even 1. So I'm bitterly jealous, but Jade got to do a whole bunch of private hours with Josh, who is sensational.
Oh, he's such a nice, he's just like Jens, he's so cool, he's such a nice guy. And his teaching is absolutely next level. Like, what I learned in like 3 hours was just like insane.
Yeah. So she was very lucky to get an experience like that. Met Jens multiple times, had chats with him, had a one-to-one with Josh, had obviously her trainer all week, and they're always very good. They differ, but they're very good and passionate people. So tell us, like, in just maybe like 3 or 4 sentences, what your like summary of the StompIt camp is. If, say, someone come up to you and they said, oh, I'm thinking of doing that, what would you say briefly if you've only got a minute or 2 with them?
I would say you 100% need to do it, but you definitely need to be a skier. I would say you can't go and do that if you're a beginner.
No.
Like, so if you're a skier and you want to like really polish up your technique skills, and you want to get faster, and you want to feel safer being faster, then 100 million% StompIt is for you, because all the teachers they're just amazing. Like, they're all amazing, like you said. They're all different, but they're all so good in their own ways.
Yeah. And you'll find that, I don't know if you felt this as well, but one thing they will always concentrate on is like technique to give you control, to give you safety, to give you confidence, which in return then enables you to be faster and have more performance.
Yeah.
But I think it's like in that order.
Yeah.
Like they don't really, I don't think they lead with performance. They lead with like control and technique.
Yeah.
And that leads you to have good performance and
yeah,
good
because
speed.
towards the end of the week, Mario was like, right, we're going to speed it up now. We're going to start speeding it up. But that was because throughout the week, we had broken it down so much so that we all felt confident in the moves that we were doing and how we were doing them and how, you know, and just how safe we all felt. And I did on the Friday, I was like, yeah, like I feel safe. And I went over that top slope, you know, that first slope you get to on top of the gondola. On Monday, I went down that like really scared. And on Friday, I went down that, and I'm not joking, I put my skis on. As you come out of the gondola, I literally skied down that bit and straight onto the slope. And even Mario was like, she's gone, like, because it was just, I just was like, no, sod it, I'm just going to ski, because I know I can ski. And they give you the reassurance as well, because they say, like, you can ski, you've just got to, and I think the videos are very good because it really does show so much. Do you know what I mean? In the videos, like, this is great, but this isn't so great.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jade obviously sent me videos, not enough, but she sent me a couple of videos. And by the end of the week, her skiing had really pushed on from a technique perspective, because obviously as I'm only a level 2 instructor, but I'm still an instructor nonetheless, and I can read technique and see whether someone's skiing well or not, and see what is not happening, what is happening. And her movement was fantastic, her technique was fantastic, her looking into the next turn was really good. You lacking a pole plant, I would say, but just you could basically just look at her at the end of the week, and as someone who understands what a good skier actually looks like, you're like, oh no, she's got good technique. Like she's now got good technique.
Yeah, once upon a time I would look at myself and I'd actually be embarrassed to like look back at myself. Like, you know, like Adam would put a video up and I'd be like, oh my God, like everyone else would be skiing along and I'd be like, oh God, I can't even watch myself. Whereas like when I did that, when Josh took that video of me, I actually was like, no, like that's actually quite good. Really like good, I actually look at that and I thought I actually look like someone else. I look like someone that can actually ski.
And in fact, whilst we're on this, I don't often talk about technique on here. In fact, one of the main things I was always going to talk about on this podcast was technique and tips and tricks, and I never ever really do it. But I'm going to say one now, because watching Jade's videos and just thinking about all of this stuff over the last week or so has really made me hone in on a specific thing, and that thing is no one likes to say this, and they will all deny that it's an up and down movement, but it is an up and down movement. Yes, admittedly, you're moving forward into the next turn, foragonal and all that stuff that they all love to say, but when you watch a really good person ski up and down the slope, it literally looks like they're going up and down. But they won't call it that. They'll say they're going foragonally into the next thing. But anyway, that is irrelevant. That movement where you utilize your ankle flexion, where you're pushing your knee more over your boot and you're coming down at the end of the turn, and then you're going up and forward or foragonal into the next turn. And a
45-degree angle normally.
Yeah, that piece is, when you're learning and you're trying to get better, it's your smallest priority, because you think, or I did, and most people do, that it's the least important thing. Nice. And one thing that I've realised is, since I now do it all the time, and I'm watching Jade do it, and I've just sort of obviously progressed in so many different ways and done my teaching and everything else, that is actually so fundamental to being even remotely good at skiing.
Oh, 100%. You can't be backseat.
No, but I'm not talking about posture. I'm talking about the movement.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not talking about posture at all. No, that comes before. Posture is more important.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to become better, you focus on posture and rotation and edging and early edging, and just so many different things. I could list like 20 different things that you're thinking about. But the one that you think is the least effective, which you don't think about and you don't do, and seems to come last for everyone, is that down movement at the end of the turn, the ankle flexion at the end of the turn, maybe even getting slightly onto your heels, and then that rebalance back forward diagonally into the next turn. That is so important, and to me it was really like the final piece of the puzzle. But actually, if you are at an earlier stage than me, and you maybe only been on a couple of ski trips, you're trying to get better, whatever the case may be, please add that diagonal up down movement, ankle flexion, I don't know what you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, into your skiing, because I promise you it will push you on further and quicker, and it's got to be there in the end anyway, so you may as well get used to doing it early. And I think the reason I never really wanted to do it is because I was concentrating so much on everything else, and I just really thought, what benefit is that really having? But when you start coming down at the end of the turn and you really get low at the end of the turn,
you're really putting that pressure on the outside ski.
You'll just get endless grip, you'll get so much speed control, it's absolutely outrageous. You can be on the steepest slope possible. If you lower yourself down at the end of that turn, try and stay forward still, like get that ankle flexion. But even if you end up on your heel, that's okay, as long as you know you've got to get forward again. I promise you, you'll get massive amounts of control, confidence and everything else from that. So please don't disregard, don't put it like I did. Don't put baby in the corner. Get that at the top of your priority list, behind posture.
Yeah, and that's what Josh says as well. Like Josh says exactly the same thing.
Really?
So you're a bit like a bit Josh-like there,
well,
babe.
that is a compliment.
But Josh literally, when he took me onto the slope, he was like, right, let's just take it back. He said, because these are the two things you need to do. And it was those things.
Wait, what was the first one?
First one was the pressure, the pressure on the outside ski, and that's why we was doing a lot of hockey stops. And then the second one was that leaning down the slope, do you know what I mean? But not straight down the slope, it's like a 45-degree angle, and really pushing on the front of the boot and almost on the side, like the front of the ball of your foot. Does that make sense? I'm really pushing down on that to get those skis to just
bend and turn.
Yeah.
And in fact, that goes back to Scott, my amazing level 2 trainer, who always said before, his advice was always, the first word that came out of his mouth when he was going to tell you how to ski was always look. Yeah. Before everything. And actually, it's so true, because wherever you look, like you try walking down the road and looking at something to your right hand side, but continuing to go in a straight line. I promise you, you can't do it. You will naturally go in that direction.
Yeah, because your head's almost that way. You can't look over there without moving your head.
No, but also what will happen is, because it's unnatural to throw yourself down a slope, especially when you're first starting, that's why looking will help you, because you will just begin to do it without even really stressing about it. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into technique, but I did just want to say about that ankle flexion, that up and down movement being important for anyone who's earlier on in their journey than I am. Or sometimes, I mean, when I did my StompIt camp, there was people who'd been skiing for 20 years.
But didn't do that.
But their technique was not very good. They were just very fast.
Yeah.
So even people that have been skiing for a long time and are really, really good and have great performance, but they know their technique is not up to scratch, just get forward in that boot at the beginning of the turn, get on that inside, that outside ski, but at the end of the turn, gradually bring yourself down so you're almost like doing like a squat. And the more, you'll think you're doing it a lot, but you're not. So you have to literally feel like you are doing the most ridiculously big movement, and you'll still only be doing a tiny little movement. Yeah. Because I've done it and been videoed, and I think I'm going up and down like 2 foot, and I'm moving about an inch.
Yeah. It's so
bear
weird.
that in mind. But yeah, so that your StompIt review is a positive one.
Very positive, yeah, all round positive. There was a couple of there was a couple of little bits and pieces, like no, not negative, but I feel like, when you're in a group, obviously other people want to do certain things differently, don't they? And I think that's very, with Mario, I thought it was very good how he handled that, because there was, you know, a certain someone in the group that always wanted to go faster. I want to go faster, faster, faster. But Mario sort of was putting the brakes on and saying like, no, 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 this is about technique. Like, the reason why you're in this group is because we need to really work on that technique before going faster. And actually, it was really refreshing to hear him say that.
Yeah, and I have never met a single really good ski instructor who teaches you by going fast. Actually, they will try and get you to do drills as slowly as possible because it's harder.
Yeah.
And the slower you do it, the harder it is, and therefore the better you will become at it. Much like riding a bike. If you try and go around in circles on a bicycle or a motorbike, really, really slow, it's absurdly hard because it's harder to balance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So even though people like the thrill and everything of going fast, you can never really train good technique going fast.
Yeah.
Unless you're already at that level. But ultimately, in order to get better, most really good people train things at a low speed because that's what makes them have better balance, better control, better technique. So yeah, that's another sort of little thing in there. Don't be obsessed with speed, because I've seen people that are ridiculously fast with absolutely horrific technique.
We see it on the slope all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I see some kid in Zermatt like smash into the railings, and he was going so fast, it was unbelievable. But anyway, so yeah, all right, well, thank you for joining the podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I'm going to take your microphone off because otherwise we'll hear you putting Lila to bed on my podcast. So sorry guys if there's noises in the background, just taking Jade's mic off, and I'm going to turn it off. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect. So, yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So, guys, now you are stuck with me. I don't know how long this has been filming for. In fact, Jade, can you just see if it says on the screen how long? Because I can't see it from here. Yeah, you can look. Yeah, go on. Does it say how long it's been rolling for?
22 minutes.
Oh, is that it?
38 seconds.
Oh, wow, that's not too bad. I thought we'd been going for a long time.
Yeah, it's like in this corner here, right?
Okay, all right, perfect. So, let's move on to the next section, guys. And I think what we'll do actually in this section is we'll quickly cover off some new gear stuff. And this is one of my favorite kind of sections because I love ski gear. Like, I absolutely love ski gear. So let's talk about some new items that have come in to the Carve studio over the past few weeks and months. In fact, I'm going to talk to you about the one that I've got just recently first, and you can watch reels and stuff on my Instagram and everything else on these things if you want to, but that is this. This is a Saviour heated mitt, and for those of you that are watching online, this is a really funky looking mitt. It's like a kind of scratchy sort of vinyl, like polyester material on the outside, but the inside is this really plush fur type material, and it is divine. On the actual like palm of the mitt, it's got this really like rough, tough, grippy material. You can probably hear that. It's got a pocket on the front of the mitt. It's got a really strong like strap. It's got all kind of writing over it. It's not for everyone, this glove. You can get this in like a plain leather or something else, but this is a seriously cool glove. And this glove is actually heated as well. Now, when I got this glove, I was talking to the company and just as an FYI, got these free of charge. So my review of them is potentially biased. I'll try not to do that, but you can never really say that it isn't when something is gifted to you. But I wasn't expecting much because these gloves, I think they're about £180 and the real good ones are about £300. So this is basically half price. So I was not expecting very much really. I just was kind of thinking, is this like a sort of good cheap alternative, and you know, like, are you sort of getting what you pay for? But actually, and this is totally honest, I've been really blown away with how good these feel and the features especially. So let me run a few of them with you. Now, one of the really cool things about these gloves is they are Bluetooth. So you can actually bring your phone out, turn these on and off and adjust the heat and see the battery levels and everything else, which may sound useless, but I promise you, having used powered gloves for a long time now, it's actually very useful to have it on an app. Now, these gloves, what I really like about these is the thought process that's gone into them. For those of you who have watched me talk about my heated glove experiences in the past, I've got a couple that are just not good. The buttons are in the wrong places, the build quality is not very good, the battery life's not very good. Like, I've had some bad experiences. I've had some really good ones, like with the Reusch ones, for example, but I've had some bad experiences. These, all of the things that you like hope for in a heated glove in terms of features, it has it. It's got the Bluetooth, it's got the nice build quality. The battery, to me, I need to compare this to the Reusch ones, but to me, they feel huge. These are a 7.4 volt, 3000 milliamp hour, 22.2 kilowatt hour battery, and they're really quite chunky and quite a decent like capacity. I'm sure that my other gloves are not as big as these, but I need to double check that. I haven't looked. So they just slot in on top of the wrist, if you like, in a little pocket with a cable in there. Quality of the cable feels good, because that is important on a glove, because you're going to pull it and whatnot, and you obviously don't want it to break because you're not going to be able to replace the cable. They have a really nice mechanism at the back for being able to like seal the cuff, which is great. They have inbuilt straps, which is another great. I always say don't ever get a glove that doesn't have straps, or add them on yourself. The power strap is just really nice material, and it's big and bold. The narrow straps that you get on gloves, if you pull them tight, they can become uncomfortable. Because this is like well over an inch wide, this is going to sit on your wrist all day long and be very, very, very comfortable. They've even added in like an element in the sort of hand bit, the fingers bit, that allows like this really comfortable, natural movement of your fingers, because sometimes they can be a bit tight in a mitt. The materials feel great. Now, obviously this is not leather, this is like a polyester version. I'm not sure if they do a leather one or not. They definitely do an all black one, but I don't know if it's leather. But I really like pretty much everything about this glove. The button system is a really nice intuitive click, and I know that may sound silly, but on some of them it's not got any feedback. It's just like a press and you don't know whether you've pressed it or not. This one is a real nice click. I really like it. What I don't think I've ever seen on a glove before, a heated glove, is actually the power level. So usually it shows you like the power that you've selected, so usually like low, medium or high, but I've never seen one that actually shows you how much charge is left in the battery. And this has got like 4 little icons, little LEDs, that physically shows you how much power is left in the battery, and you can look on the Bluetooth app as well. So I've not used these yet. I don't know whether they will have good longevity. I don't know whether they will last long. I don't know what the actual heating is like, albeit I have actually tried it like in a normal house situation and they get very hot. I don't know what these are going to be like on the slopes, but when I arrive skiing in a week, not even a week's time, I'm going skiing this week and I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. I can try these and then I will come back with a review, both online, on social media, and in the Carvecast podcast as well. But all in all, considering these are basically half the price of like a Hestra heated glove or a Reusch heated glove, these are looking great so far. But I've told you everything that I know so far. Super impressed, and I am very excited to try those. And don't be put off by the crazy graphics of the ones that I chose, because you can get plain ones, but I've got plain ones. I thought I just wanted something a little bit different. The one thing I will say about all of these heated gloves that I've got, they all have these weird like barrel connectors. Like, just give me USB-C. I don't want these barrel connectors. I don't want to have to carry this around. I just want USB-C. So, because then I don't have to carry all these extra things. So that is annoying. I don't know if it's possible to buy adapters, but I would love for everyone to stop using these because they are irritating. And in fact, a couple of more things I will say. I don't know this for sure, but what it looks like Saviour have done, it looks like they've kind of like licensed different technologies and materials from different companies, because this one says that it's got a Hippora, and I don't know if this is like a global brand or whatever that is used for other things, but it says a whole new way of making gloves to keep your hands warm, dry and comfortable. And it's basically saying that there's an inside Hippora glove insert, whatever that is. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments, but it's basically this breathable insert that keeps you warm and dry. They also have a 78% recycled 3M Thinsulate insulation. So again, that's another brand. And when it comes to the actual heating itself, it looks like it's again made by like a separate company called, where is it? eigdayheating.com or igheating.com or ehheating, I don't know how you would say that, but eigdayheating.com. So it looks like the actual heating system again is by like a third party company, and then it looks like Saviour have kind of put it all together, added their own touches on it, made it into what they want. And I like that idea because it looks like they've gone out to like industry leaders or people that are good in the industry, grabbed what they needed and built it all into their own design of a glove. So I like that philosophy that they've got, rather than sort of building everything out from the ground up when people have already been doing it better and longer and have got that experience. So I really like that mindset that I'm guessing they've put into this glove. That's just what I've perceived so far. I haven't asked them about it or anything, so apologies if I'm wrong. Now, that's the gloves. I love them. I'm looking forward to trying them, and I will let you guys know how I get on with them. Another thing, I'm not going to go into details on this, but when I go skiing, I take loads of recording stuff with me because I like to make content, as you guys know. And I always take my little Neo drone, which is like this controllerless drone that you can sort of put up in the air and it will follow you and stuff like that. But it's always sort of too slow, a little bit unreliable, no good in wind. So never that great, but I love the fact it's so small and you can just sling it in the air and get some really cool little videos. They've just brought out the Neo 2, which if I hold them up to the camera, you can see it's probably what, 25-30% bigger. Yeah, and kind of more substantial, bigger propellers, more powerful, probably bigger battery, etc. It's also got like sensors top and bottom to avoid things. It's got a little wireless unit on the back which allows you to control it with a proper controller, or the goggles, which I actually bought with it, although I probably won't use them that much. I like to use this, sling it in the backpack and use it as like a little throw up in the air wireless drone. There's loads and loads of cool things about this. I recommend you go watch a DJI Neo 2 dedicated review if you want to know more about this, but this is something that I'm definitely going to be taking with me on my next ski trip. Now, something else that I'll be taking with me on my next ski trip is these, and these are the Oakley Meta AI glasses. These ones are the sunglasses versions. They're like a sort of white rim, and mine have got like orange lenses. And I've been using these. I took these on my summer holidays actually to record like the family and stuff. These have got a camera in them, they've got a microphone, they've got speakers, and they are so good. I didn't think I would like them. I didn't think I would use them, and now I struggle to use any other sunglass because I love the functionality so much. The video quality is great, the photo quality is great, and having it on your face and just being able to either talk to it and tell it to start a video or take a photo, or just quickly press a button without getting your phone out and everything else, makes these seriously good. And I'm going to do a long segment on these at some point during one of my ski trips and give these my full sort of review and information about them. To the point actually where they're so useful, I've ordered some replacement lenses that are see-through prescription lenses that you can actually swap out, because I'm going to use these for my normal glasses with my prescription built in, because they're just so useful to have on your face like at all times. So if you were ever wondering whether to get yourself some Oakley Meta AI glasses, or the Ray-Ban ones, depends on what your taste is, don't delay, go buy them today. This is not sponsored or anything. I just think they're absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to getting loads of good footage with those that is difficult to get with cameras and other types of recording systems. So they're great, and I'm really looking forward to using those. Now, that's my little gear segment for you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I always love like gear segments of anything whenever I'm listening or watching to these kinds of things. Now, what I do want to talk to you guys about is a couple of things. First of all, I've got some questions, so I'm just pulling my phone out now. And on my stories earlier on my Instagram, I put up a post and I said, has anyone got any questions? Now, this wasn't long ago, so I don't know how many we've got. All right, so we've got a few questions in here. I'm not going to go through them all because I might save some others for another podcast, but we've got one here. Johnny B21. How different are the binding options on the Stokely skis, i.e. standard, carbon and race? Okay, so first of all, with bindings, you've got two elements. You've got the base plate, which is like the long sort of bit that goes on the ski itself. And then you have the bindings that clip into it that kind of lock your boot in. Now, the bindings, I'm not sure how much of a difference they make with anything other than, I think, like safety and different din levels and more of a din range, that kind of thing. I don't know enough about it, unfortunately. But the base plates, Stokely, for example, they do three, he said. The normal base plate, then they do the carbon base plate, and then they do the race plate. And essentially the difference between the three of them is stiffness and weight. Now, without going into crazy detail about it, the weight is one thing, you guys can work that out for yourselves, but the stiffness is another. So if you go for the normal one, for example, it's going to add the least stiffness to the center of the ski. As you go up to the carbon one, it's going to be lighter, which is usually better, but it's going to be way stiffer. I forget the percentages now. I think they do say something like 20%, but it might be more than that, stiffer than the normal one. And then you've got the race plate, which is actually very heavy. It's big, it's bulky, it puts you up higher in the air to get easier edge angles, and it's way stiffer. So the way that you can kind of look at it is you could buy something like a Laser SC, which is sort of on the softer side of their ski range, but you could put a race plate on it and you could sort of almost like diversify that ski by just varying the plate that you put on it. And obviously that would stiffen it up, heavy it up, and turn it into more of a kind of performance ski while still having the benefits of the SC. And in the other way round of looking at that, like I actually did on one of my skis, you could get a WRT Laser Pro, which is like their stiffest ski, and you could then put like a carbon base plate on it, which is not the race plate, but like the one down from that. And that's going to make that a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more supple, a little bit more usable outside of the places where it's kind of meant to be used. So you can utilize these different plates and bindings to give you more almost like variation in a ski. So for example, if you had like a WRT Laser and you felt like you were really like pushing your ability to be able to use that ski, like you're a sort of lower skier than what that ski really kind of is looking for, you could buy that ski with like the basic base plate on it, and that's going to make that ski a little bit easier, a little bit softer, a little bit more forgiving. And then as you go on, you could maybe take that off and then put like a race plate on it later on, and then all of a sudden that ski is going to be like a totally different ski because it's got that stiffer base plate on it. So that's kind of one way to look at it without sort of going into too much detail. So thank you for your question, Johnny. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you following me on Instagram. Josh P asks, have you skied in mid-November? If so, where? Now, as you guys know, if you've been watching for a long time, I have skied quite a few places mid-November, and you're kind of really restricted to like glacier resorts. So like Zermatt, Hintertux, Tignes, the Kitstein Horn in Kaprun, These kinds of Stubai Glacier, Solden, there's loads in Austria. You're kind of limited, Saas Fee, you're kind of limited really to these places. But for example, Zermatt today had about 50 kilometers of slopes open if you include Chamonix. So even though you're like mid-November, just coming up to mid-November, no, just past mid-November because we're the 16th, that's a lot of slopes to have open. Some resorts don't even have 50 kilometers of slopes. So to have that open at this time of year with amazing snow because it's high up and it's cold and it's got a good quality to it is pretty unreal. And I wouldn't be put off by that like at all. I go mid-November, or I have been the years that I've been skiing, like both of the years that I've been skiing so far, and I've loved it. And in fact, my plans as we move on are to go to Chamonix this weekend, and Chamonix open one of their resorts, what's it called? Begins with a G. I'll try and think of it later. Jontier or something like that, at weekends on the build up to when their season opens in December. So you can actually go to Chamonix and ski, I think it's Les Montettes, on the, I think it's Jontier, I think that's what it's called, ski area. And it starts only at weekends, but I think they count a Friday as part of the weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now last year it was due to open on the weekend that I arrived, which is why I went there, and it didn't because there was high winds, and it's possible that the same thing's gonna happen this weekend because looking at the weather, there's lots and lots of cold weather and wind and snow coming in this week. So I'm not sure whether I'm gonna get to ski Chamonix, but I love going to Chamonix anyway, and I'm happy to spend a couple of days just in resort, going around the shops and yeah, just pottering around really and just enjoying the resort because I just absolutely love the town of Chamonix. Although someone the other day told me it was like, they didn't like it at all and they thought it was a bit of a dive, and they even gave it a name. It was like, I don't know, the pigeon area or something, like, you know, like to kind of say that it was a bit of a dive. I completely disagree with that. I think Chamonix is absolutely stunning, and it's probably my second favourite ski town behind Zermatt. But obviously this is subjective and it's down to taste, so it doesn't mean that anyone's right or wrong. But yeah, I love Chamonix, and I would recommend it to anyone as a town. As a ski place, I've never skied it, so I don't know what it's like. But what I do know is it's made up of multiple areas that are not interconnected. So if you were there for like a week and you wanted to do all the different areas like Les Houches and all the others, you've got to get buses or drive each day to each one. So even if you're staying like dead in the middle of Chamonix, you still are going to have to like drive around or get buses, which to me is a bit of a pain in the backside. But I'll find out this weekend if I actually get to ski it for the first time, which I would love to do, which brings me nicely on to my next segment, which is where am I skiing over the next few weeks, because my ski trip starts on either Thursday or Friday. I haven't decided yet. So let me run you through my ski trip that I am doing. So I will be leaving either Thursday or Friday, and I'm going to be going to Chamonix, like I said. So I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not sure when I'm arriving or when I'm leaving, but I'm hoping to ski Saturday if it's open. We'll have to see. If not, I'll be pottering around Chamonix, just enjoying the town, like I said, or it's a short drive to Annecy, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm just hoping it's all going to be all snowy because there is snow coming in this week. I'd hate to get there and it's not snowy. But anyway, we'll see. And then on Sunday, probably in the morning, I'm heading over to Saas Fee, and I'll either ski Saas Fee that day, or I'll just enjoy the town of Saas Fee and get booked into my hotel and whatnot. And then I will ski it on the Sunday or the Monday. I don't know, I've lost my count of my days now, but I'm going to ski a day in Saas Fee for sure. So Saas Fee I'll be staying in, and then on Monday the 24th, I may well ski Saas Fee again that day and then go to Zermatt after, because it's only like an hour drive up the road. But from the 24th of November until the 6th of December. So I think that's pretty much dead on 2 weeks. I will be in Zermatt, my favourite place in the world. I love everything about it. I will be there skiing. So my first week, you can see the smile coming on my face if you're watching on YouTube. My first week will just be like skiing for myself. I'll be seeing friends and doing meetings and just like catching up with people and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that immensely. And then my second week in Zermatt, from the Monday to Friday, I'm doing my own StompIt camp, like Jade was just talking about, and this will be my second StompIt camp. And I'm doing it with my friend Benji, who I met on my first StompIt camp. So nice to have made a friend on a camp. Benji's a proper nice guy. We always have a laugh, and I'm really looking forward to skiing with him. I was thinking about it the other day though, because they break us up into groups, there is a possibility that we're not in the same group, which would be annoying, because Benji might just all of a sudden be like way better than me, which is definitely possible. So I don't know if we're going to be in the same group, but either way, I'm super excited to do the StompIt camp. I'm hoping my instructor is Dave again, or Josh would be amazing, but I don't think he's going to be there. But all of their instructors are very, very good. But Dave in particular, I thought was immense. So I'm doing my StompIt camp from the 1st to the 5th. Then I leave Zermatt and I am heading to probably what I would say is my second favourite ski resort, which is Val d'Isère and Tignes, and you can kind of think of them as the same ski resort really, because they're very much interconnected and you can ski between them. So I've got a few days then in Val d'Isère and Tignes, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. And because we're now like at the beginning of December, Val d'Isère opens quite early and Tignes like right at the beginning of December. So in fact, going back to that previous question about skiing in November, if you can push it to like the early part of December, mid-December, you're going to have a lot more choice and there's going to be a lot more slopes open. And in fact, in Zermatt, for example, by the beginning of December, there is a lot of slopes open. You've got like all of the Riffelberg area open, the Gornegrat area. You're going to have all of the Sunniger area open. You're going to have Trevinia all the way down probably to Val Tournai and Trevinia. Like you're going to have hundreds of kilometers of slopes open by mid-December, if that. So if you can wait, I would. It's still going to be very quiet that time of year, so you still get that. It's going to be cheaper that time of year, so you still get that. And I've found December is very cold as well, which I personally like. I much prefer it to be freezing cold than the spring skiing. I'm not a spring skiing fan, although I do it. I'd prefer it to be ridiculously cold. So that is my plans over the next few weeks. And then when I finish in Val d'Isère, I'm actually going to go and do a couple of days somewhere else, and I've not decided where yet. It's possible I go to Courchevel, because Courchevel opens I think on the 5th of December, so it'll be after that. I might go do Courchevel for a couple of days, or basically the Three Valleys. I might even go do a day in Les Arcs. I might do a day in Saint Foy. I don't know yet. I'm going to see what the lay of the land is in terms of snow, what's open, what slopes are open at what resorts, all of this different kind of stuff. Look at the webcams, look at the weather, and then I'm going to pick for my last couple of days where I'm going to go. But I'm essentially skiing for like 3.5 weeks, so I'm ridiculously hyped and excited. And if you want to sort of watch more like micro sections of my next parts of my adventures, then follow me on social media basically. So that is that. Now, I come back to the UK on about the 14th or 15th of December, I think. And then I've got loads of work. I've got Christmas. And then I go skiing again, this time with loads of people, my wife, my daughter, my friends, in fact my sister, and everyone's coming out to meet us, and we're going off and doing another 2 or 3 weeks, well 3 weeks basically, over New Year's. And I know I've probably told you this before, but we're doing Verbier for New Year's, and what I will do is the next part of this, that 3 weeks, is even more jam-packed. We're going to 6 or 7 resorts over a 3-week period, each with different groups of people and everything else. It's a really, well, to me, it's a really exciting sort of start to 2026. But I will leave that to the next episode, because this one is getting longer and longer and longer. If you've made it this far, I'm very, very, very grateful. Please, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments or drop me a message on social media or whatever it might be, comment on a reel or something like that, Facebook, whatever. And I will add it into the next podcast. Yeah, all I'm doing now is counting down the days so I can jump in my van, head down to the Eurotunnel, drive it under the ocean and on the train that is, and put up the other side, drive down to Chamonix and just start my 2025-2026 ski season off with a bang. Watching my wife do my ski trip with StompIt was hard. Even though I was so happy for her, I was so proud of her, I was desperate to have been on that trip. And then when I have found out that she had a whole private, like half a day with Josh, I was like bitterly jealous. And I don't really ever get jealous, but I promise you I was jealous, like really jealous. So thank you to StompIt. Thank you to Jens for having such a great system that he's set up. Thank you to Josh as well for giving Jade that experience. Like, she would have loved it. Thank you to Mario, her teacher, because she has been singing your praises all week long. And in fact, thank you to everyone at StompIt, because she went over there on her own as a female, and everyone was nothing but decent, courteous, respectful, ethical, like enthusiastic, passionate, like every sort of positive superlative that I could come up with, I have got for those guys. And essentially they kind of looked after my wife for the week, so you know, she's had nothing but positive things to say about it, which is unusual for her. No, I'm joking, sort of. So yeah, so I really appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure none of them ever listen to this, but I'm saying it anyway. And that is probably it for this week's episode. Get yourselves on the webcams, get yourself on the weather app, look at all this weather coming in, get yourself hyped up for this new season. It's gonna be a sick one. It's gonna be a great one. I think the weather actually has started off really well, I think, especially with the way that the snow has sort of kept itself on those upper areas. And all we need now is we just need snow in all the valleys, get them valley runs filled in so everyone can start their amazing beginning of their season. I'd love to know, guys, as well, tell me about your ski trips. You may not think that I'm interested, but I promise you I will read it. I'll enjoy it. It will make me excited for my own ski trips and my own ski adventures. And I would love to hear from you guys about yours and where you're going and where you're staying and how you're getting there. And is it the first time you've been there? You know, have you been there before? What's your experience? I'd love to hear all of your stories. So please don't think that I wouldn't. I really genuinely would love to read through all of those, because for the selfish reason that it will get me even more hyped up for mine. And I love learning about other resorts and other people's experiences. So I've got to stop myself waffling. It's Sunday night. I need to spend some time with the family. I need to do some work, and I need to edit this podcast. I don't really edit it. I just chuck it into the thing and upload it, but I need to do that. And I will see you all in the next one. So happy 2025-26 ski season. I'm out. Peace.